All right, everyone. Welcome back to Automotive Anatomy, to another Watch and Talk. First and foremost, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for allowing me to, be in the background noise. If you're going on, your commute, thank you for letting me ride along with you. If you're just walking, definitely appreciate it. If you're in the garage working on some stuff and you have me as a background noise, man, I just want to say thank you because we're only in this earth for an average of 80 years. I think it's less than that. And so the merely fact that I was able to, be part of your life for 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be, it means a lot. It does definitely does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much. So I want to read a short quote from one of the books that I've been reading. From the book Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Impressing people is utterly different from being truly impressive. Well, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because there's a lot of things in my mind. There's been a lot of quite of interesting stuff. I think in my life right now, I'm going through this shift of positive things. I definitely I'm one of those people that the most important things to me I keep to myself. And it doesn't mean that I'm not excited. It doesn't mean that I'm not happy. It doesn't mean I just I've gone through this continued change that as I'm getting older, I'm definitely I don't want to use the word closing off, but I'm definitely more quiet with certain people, and the people that I really feel comfortable with, I am the most honest and transparent, and that's weird because as I'm getting older and learning, I just realized that I don't know anything, and that I'm like I continuously want to learn, continuously want to get a different point of view from different people, right? So this quote, as you guys know, one of the goals that I have for this year is to listen or read 50 audiobooks or books. Mostly I like to listen just because it just I can commute and listen to some stuff, write down some things while I'm on my walk or whatever. And the book that was recommended by my buddy Alan, Ego's the Enemy, is a great book. Definitely recommend it. And so that line stood out to me because I think we're in a society where we just want to impress others, and not saying that everybody is like that, but I've come across some people that they are quick to tell you, hey, this is a cool thing that I'm working on. This is a cool thing that is going on in my life. This is exciting. And social media doesn't help. I think they all show snippets of highlights of lives. But the reality is that not everybody's like that. The reality is that not everybody's going through, cool experiences at all times. And to me, I think there's beauty in the simplicity of things. As some of you guys may know, I'm not a big believer of debt. If I do have some debt, it will be into some assets that can provide me, I guess, some cash flow or something in the long run. Maybe rentals. That's kind of the plan for me. But I don't consume just to consume. I don't believe in that, right? And just because you have it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, or you're on the wrong. That's just the way I like to live my life. I don't drive fancy cars, and whenever Teslas or new cars are passing me on the freeway, I think to myself, like, that's a cool car, but I would like to have nice things. I would never want nice things to have me. And not to say that they can't afford it. I'm sure they make pretty decent amount of money and they can afford the car payment and they can do all that. But the problem is that we're in a society where it's never enough. So 3 years from now, that new car is going to be old again, right? Or, oh, in the name of maintenance, let's just lease another car because this one's going to start giving us issue. Even though some of us know that we're driving 90s, early 2000s, some 80s buckets daily driving, and yes, they'll give us issues, but aside from the fact that we like driving those cars, we also understand that if you maintain a car, it should, not all the time, it should, be reliable. And why do I mean, what does that have to do with being impressive? I'm a true believer now that we're always in some weird times. I'm not the one to say, oh, whatever. I don't believe in being in panic mode. I don't believe in none of that. There's some people that I listen to that I really enjoy their messages, and then they start talking about, oh, just get ready with what's coming. It's like this conspiracies, and I'm like, look, maybe I'm on the wrong. And by I mean, like Andy Frisella, Bedros Coleman. Sorry, I forgot his last name. Bedros. Even sometimes Ed Milet says things like that, like, oh, get ready, it's coming. I'm like, okay, look, I don't like to live like that. I don't like to live in panic. I don't watch the news. I don't care about none of that. I care about myself. I care about my family. I care about my friends. I care about hopefully providing something positive to the community. That's what I really care about. And so that quote has stuck by me. I put it on my Instagram a while back because I think a lot of us, we come off as being very impressive and very quote unquote successful, but the reality is that sometimes, you know, keeping up, keeping up with the facade is really what's keeping us unhappy. And then we're also, making other people feel like they're not accomplishing enough because they are not doing the things that you're doing. And I've discussed this in previous videos about, watching videos of YouTubers where they're building a car in 3 months, and you're like, what the heck, man? I'm trying to build my car for the last 5 years and I still can't do it. And whether you want to, even though you don't want it to affect you, it does affect you. But being truly impressive to me, I think, is just one of those things where you're okay with yourself, you're okay with your confidence, you're okay with, the different things that you're trying to work on. I had the pleasure of going to this guest speaker, kind of thing. One of the other biggest things that I'm working on this year is to give back. And so I've been, pushing myself to go and show support to certain individuals who are trying to grow something, to be a positive. And one of the questions I asked was, I'll give you a little snippet. The keynote speaker mentioned that it was the first time she was running for any type of office in the city where she lived. And so she was going against the incumbent. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about, huh? She was going against the incumbent, the person who has already, held the office for, I think, 2 terms or something like that. And one of the things that she mentioned was, so I ran for office, and one of the mistakes that my, counterpart, or the other person, the person I was running against, one of the mistakes that he did was he underestimated me. And I was like, damn, that was just powerful, It's like, that's true. Afterwards, there was a Q&A. I raised my hand. I said, you mentioned that your opponent underestimated you. What do you tell what do you tell to that person that may be underestimating themselves? And I really, really liked their answer, because what she said, get a bigger group, get a different group. The only reason you would be underestimating yourselves because the people near you are not lifting you up. They're not motivating you. They're not saying, yes, you can do that. If you're ever in a group and you say, hey, let's stick with cars, right? I want to build this all-wheel drive K-Series Civic EF. And the group says, nah, man, I don't think so, because it's too much money and you don't make enough. Nah, man, I don't know if do you even know how to do any mechanical work? Like, what do you mean you're trying to, like, if there's people like that, maybe they're not being negative, maybe they're not being rude, maybe they're not saying bad words, but they're not uplifting you. They're not saying, yeah, cool, man. How are you planning on doing it? Yeah. What's your timeline? Oh, how are you gonna get the money? Like, that'd be cool. But there's a difference, right? And so to me, I was just like, damn, like, that's true. Get a different group. And so in another video by Bedros, the very first thing he said, 8 steps into, I think it was a better you or something. I can't remember the title, but the number one was like, ditch your loser friends. Now, obviously that's controversial, because then you're like, well, what's a loser friend? Was that? Look, to me, it's just a matter of, there's certain people I just don't want with me all the time, whether they're really, really close friends of mine or even family. Doesn't mean I love them, but there's just something about them that if I say, hey, I'm gonna try to do this, I already know that the very first thing is going to be, well, blank obstacle, right? Well, you can't do this because of that. Well, you can't do that because of this. There's always going to be something. And even though they may be legitimate looking out for you, they're still, in a way, being an obstacle, because instead of saying, okay, that's a hefty, goal, Let's break it down. Let's see how we can figure out. Let's see how we can accomplish it. And that's something that the key speaker mentioned to me. She said, you want to be in a group of people where when you say, hey, I want to become a president of the United States, they look at you and they're like, okay, you can do it, right? And help you be not only just like a, supporting system, but actually question you and keep you, you know, accountable, because it's super important. And obviously it's hard to find a group like that. It's difficult, and sometimes it's difficult to break those cycles of hanging out with certain people that you've known for so many years, and every Friday, every Saturday you just want to drink beer. It's comfortable. Football, you guys know the sports seasons. Football's coming to an end now. Let's hop into basketball's coming to an end. Let's hop into baseball's coming to an end. Let's go into football. See, it's a little cycle. Ask me how I know. I mean, I used to do that every Friday. I used to go to these restaurant called Chili's, and I would hang out there every Friday. That's when, honestly, there were good times, but I didn't know any better. That was my thing. That was to go there every Friday and just hang out. And now looking back, I was like, man, not that those 20, 23, 25 bucks that I was spending every Friday would now make me a millionaire. Yeah, it was $60 a month, and it was a way for me to just kind of relax. But at the same time, it's like I think I know for a fact that I could have utilized my time a little bit more wisely. I know that I could have created more of a positive impact, not only to my own life, but to somebody else, instead of just going and hanging out the bar, because that's literally I was doing for 3-4 hours. And again, whether it was a cool time or not, now looking back, I'm like, man, I could have done a little bit more. And so I think that's the same thing with the quote that I started this wash and talk with, because we can always do a little bit more. And I don't know what happens that we just get stuck on the details and the little things, man. Again, impressing people is utterly different from being truly impressive. And I think being truly impressive is saying, hey, it doesn't matter where I'm at right now in life. I'm going to make sure that I take one baby step every single day towards that goal that I have. Well, if you don't have goals, then that's crazy. It's almost like the quote that says, if you don't aim at anything, you'll hit it every single time. And to me, having a goal is just a reason to be alive. Otherwise, if you don't have goals, then what's this for? Like it sounds weird, but that's a reality. Some people may not believe in goals. I do, just because it gives me something to work for. I feel that having those quote unquote obstacles, because now I really don't feel like I have any obstacle. Like, my life is really good, but I'm still working towards a house. I'm still working towards a newer car. I'm still working towards certain things. Maybe I'm still working towards this channel growing, and I'm working towards those things because it gives me excitement. I understand that in the next 60, 70 years, that's it. It's gone. I'm done. And that's without life happening. If life happens earlier than that, then that was it. Like I told my wife one time, I said, if something was to happen to me way before I'm 70, 80 years old, like, don't feel bad for me. I felt very happy with what I accomplished from where I come from, but just know that, yeah, it wasn't sufficient, because I'm never going to be fully satisfied. I'm content. I'm happy. I'm extremely grateful for what I do have, but I wake up every day thinking, okay, how can I improve? How can I get better? And it doesn't necessarily mean my bank account growing. It doesn't necessarily mean me getting new car parts. It means, how can I impact people? How can I be of service of others, where I make an impact on them when I'm not even in their life anymore? I think about some of the people that I worked with in the past, how they still want to hang out with me. They still want to go on coffee runs. They still invite me to their events. That says a lot. That says, hey, this person had a huge impact on me, that I enjoy their presence, and I want them to be still part of my life. And not to say that I want to be everyone's best friend, because honestly, like I mentioned, as I'm getting older, I keep my mouth shut a little bit more longer. I tend to kind of just listen, pick up the vibe, pick up the tone. One big thing that I like to do nowadays is listen to somebody, how they're speaking, what they're saying. If the first 5 minutes of me meeting them, they start complaining or they start talking about something or they're just something negative. Man, right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be friends with this individual. Because guess what? If they're talking about somebody else with you, they're gonna do the same exact thing with about you with someone else. I mean, that's just the golden rule, you know. Like, it's crazy how like a lot of us, I've been there. We don't realize, man, this person is just not the most positive. Well, they never talked anything positive with you. You guys were just venting, never really offering any solutions. Facts, you know. That's the way I see it. And again, I'm not saying that I'm 100% all the time because I'm definitely not. But it helps me to just understand. So a big rule of thumb with me is I'm the person that you see me on camera. I'm the same off camera. I joke, I play around, blah, blah, blah. If you really ever see me quiet, it's one, I don't know the people and I'm kind of getting to know them. Or two, I know the people and I don't want to add to it. Because of the people that hang out with me on a not daily basis, but more routine basis, like my buddy Easy. We talk on the phone. Sometimes we commute and, he'll call me, I'll call him, and we just blah, 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 blah. My buddy Armando, me and him are always talking. Mata, Francisco, you know, we're always having different discussions. And you can't keep me, quiet. But you gave me around other people that I'm just like, I'm just going to stay back. Let them do all the talking. And that's when you realize, like, okay, you don't have to always have the attention. You don't always have to have the answer. Sometimes your place is to listen and to just, stay quiet. And if you really legitimately want to help somebody, then, you tell them, hey, this is what my humble suggestion. And if they want to take it, they'll take it. If they don't, they don't. But it definitely is not my job to be impressive with everybody. My job is to be true to myself, focus on me, and then I think the other details will take care of themselves. But that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And there, like I mentioned, just having this, I kept having this conversation with myself about how people right now, they're going through some challenges. Financially, that's always going to be a challenge for different people. There's been somewhat, layoffs on the tech company, and I don't work in the tech company. So, I don't really think about it, but some people are losing their jobs, and I hope that it gets better for you. I hope that if you're having some type of family problem, I hope it gets better. The sad part is that this is going to continue to happen. This is not going to go away. So how can we cope to ensure that we can be as happy as we can be? And to me, the way I do it is by listening to positive books, positive interviews, things that are motivating. Because if you don't fill it with that, something will fill up that space in your mind and your attention and your heart, or whatever you want to call it. And most of the time, things are negative. Most of the time, the news, social media the algorithm doesn't feed you anything positive. They want to feed you violence. They want to feed you, news that is going to be the divisive and dividing of different individuals. And I think that that's a problem that as a society we can solve, but it's so difficult. But we'll keep putting a little grain of rice, as they say it. And I truly believe that these Washington talks are a space for me to hopefully, I don't know if the word is inspire is the right word, but to kind of just continue to encourage you to build whatever you're trying to build. People think like, man, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that. It's never too late. It's never too, you're never too old. You're never too fat. You're never too skinny. You're never too ugly. You're never too pretty. Like, motivate yourself, motivate others, hang out with people that have goals, hang out with people that, and again, those goals don't have to be financial. If your goal is to be the best dad you can be, then be the best dad you can be. Spend more time with your family, take a walk to the library and pick up a book. Like, I posted this on Instagram a while back where I don't know, I must have been triggered, not gonna lie, by some of the people I follow on their stories, and they just kept posting like, oh, they bought the new Nikes, and it was during Christmassy area, so they were getting all these material things, and I'm like, damn, man, like I don't understand I should say, I do understand. Sorry, I do understand why we're freaking stuck in the cycle of poverty for the most part, because we don't take the time to teach our kids the value of experiences, the value of education, the value of different things. We teach them to continue to consume just like the way we were taught, right? That's the way we grew up, so that's what we're going to teach our future generations, and most likely that future generation is going to teach the next one, and so forth and so on. So I think it definitely got me thinking about, what is it that you want to teach? What is it that how do you want to, you want your family to think of you, the person that, oh, got me all these, material things, or the person who actually said, hey, let's put the phones away, let's have a chat, let's do some stuff old school. Because to some people, that may be whack, right? That may not be the coolest thing, but to me, I find value in it. I try to make the effort in sending a group chat to the whole family, like, hey, Saturday or Sunday we're hanging out at my mom's. And the reality is, it's simple, guys. Like, to some people, they don't see their parents, you know maybe they see them once a year, once a month. I don't know, I get it. We all have different lives. Okay, I'm not trying to say that my life is perfect by any means, but you know I just, all I'm saying is, i don't I don't know where life's gonna take us, and it moves fast, and that's something that I just know. Life has been moving so fast for me, and I think that we need to take the time to smell the roses. And for me, it's hang out with the family. um I know that eventually my family, my nieces, let's say they're gonna get older, they're probably not gonna want to go anymore. I really hope that we leave a positive mark on them, to say, hey, family's important. I remember in Mexico, my uncles would really show up, like, all together, maybe like twice a year, or three times, I should say, like three times for sure. The Mother's Day, right? Dia de las Madres, Christmas, so Navidad, and then my grandma's birthday. So her birthday was, the end of the day where everybody would come together. I lived with my grandma for 2 years. So other than that, my uncles would stop by here and there, but not super regular. And those moments were cool, man. So I want to continue to have those for my own family. And you just, again, time flies, and before you know it, it's like, well, that was it. And so when you the way I think about this, I guess some of you guys may think that's really odd, guys, but cool, kudos for you. The way I think about this is this: I try to see my mom, specifically my mom, at least twice per month. Okay, so she's around 60 something. I'm sure she wouldn't be happy me saying her full age, but if I see her twice per month, and last time I checked, there's 12 months out of the year. That means that I only see her 24 times in a year, which to me, that kind of sounds crazy now that I say that out loud, right? Like, that's it, like 24. And again, every other month, sometimes we see her maybe three times. Sometimes we won't see her, only maybe once a month. But that's 24 times. Now, let's say, I hope that my mom's still alive for 25 years, okay? That's 600. That means that I have 600 times to see her. And the reason I started thinking this way was because I was listening to this podcaster. He was interviewing somebody, and he asked him, hey, how often do you see your mom? And he lived across the country, and he said, oh, on Thanksgiving and maybe other events. It's like, so 2-3 times a year? It's like, yeah. Okay, so how old is your mom? How long do you think she's gonna live? Oh, 20 times, 20 years. Okay, so 20 times 3 is like, what, 60 times? You're only gonna see her 60 more times in your whole life? Or you only see her on Thanksgiving, so if she has 20 years, 20 more Thanksgiving, and that's it. And I was like, damn. Again, one of the cool things that I've learned is that I've been listening to, I'm about to start my 7th audiobook out of 50 for this year. And if I can do more than 50, I'll definitely will. But I don't, obviously I don't grasp every little detail of the books, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay with that. But what it does do for me is every single day I'm listening to something positive. Every single day I'm feeding myself something positive. I try to make sure that nothing negative, or the least amount of negative things go into my mind, because I truly believe that whatever you feed yourself to your head becomes your thoughts, and those thoughts become actions, and those actions become your reality. And so I'm constantly thinking, like, put yourself something positive. So yes, even though I'm on my seventh book, no, I could not tell you every single detail from every single book, but I know that it got me in a positive mood, and in return I was able to do something more positive. At least that's the way I feel. But that's the reality. The reality is that I constantly keep listening to something, because something like this, about the number of times have to hang out with my family, I listened to that maybe like 2-3 years ago, and it's stuck by me. So bottom line is this: time is valuable, and that's why I always tell you guys at the beginning, thank you guys so much for letting me to just vent or share what I'm thinking, and thank you guys for commenting back and sharing your point of view. But that's the reality. Time is the most important thing we have in this world, and our attention, and it's one of the things that we can't replenish. Like, it's just gone. It's crazy. So, on that note, it takes time, but again, go and be impressive with yourself and your family, and yeah, don't take things for granted. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.